What's going on, guys? It's King Touch Pro and welcome back to another Final Cut Pro 10 tutorial. Thank you so much for stopping by to watch another video of mine. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make your videos look cinematic and just kind of give it the overall film look. And it's really easy to do using MotionVFX's mFilmLook plugin for Final Cut Pro 10. Link is going to be in the description for you guys to check out. Now, do keep in mind that this video is sponsored. However, I would only show you guys plugins that I think are worth the money and time. So, of course, this is definitely one of them. Now, I also want to give a special shout out as well to Jacek Adamczak for the awesome video that I, of course, took with the Italy 2019 Milan Venice short video inspired by Ben TK and JR Ali. So the video is his. Credit is going to be in the description. Please subscribe to him. I'm not sure why he's not at 1,000 subscribers yet, but be sure to check him out. Link is in the description. So let's jump into the tutorial. All right, so this is Jacek's video here this one's the Italy video that he filmed. So all credits to him, of course. So first things first that we want to apply is, well, we want to give it the film look. So we're going to go into the effects here in the effects browser, and we're going to look for the mFilmLook plugin. Once you've downloaded and installed the M installer, then you can install the mFilmLook plugin. So you're first going to have this effect here, and then you're going to have the presets. So they have 60 different presets for different types of looks that you're trying to go for. So you can go through each one of these. So I'm going to go through them really quickly with you. So we have achromatic. You can easily see the effects by hovering over it with your mouse, and you can see the black and white video, and you can see that how it looks like. Just look a little preview within the effects browser, and then you have Algor, which looks really nice, gives it a dramatic look to this. Really like this preset. For now, we're going to go into the mFilmLook. I'm going to show you different stuff that you guys can do with this effect. So I'm going to click and drag it directly on top of that clip. And then once you do so, usually a window will pop up giving you like a little hint or like a couple of steps to show you what each of the effects does. So on the left here, we have the effects bar. And then within the effects bar, we have the effects icon. And then within the effects icon, you will have the on-screen controls or the OSC. Before we do that, I have these unchecked for now. I want to show you each one of these in order. So the first one will, of course, be the mFilmLook presets. So if we click on this button, a new window will appear showing you all of these 60 different presets that we've also seen within the effects browser down there. So we can go through each one of these as well. We have the default, which is our video without any of the presets applied. We have achromatic. Again, we can click it and then you can see what I'm talking about with the on-screen controls. Each one of the effect icons will have a dedicated on-screen control. So each one of these will be slightly different, but it allows you to control and quickly control the settings within that particular effect. So right now we have the presets enabled. So we have all of these that we can go through. We have Caribbean and it looks really, really good. So let's say we want to apply the day spring one. We have it checked. We can, of course, have this little star, or you're going to see a little star. Now, if we click on this star, this will allow us to add it to our favorites list. So now if we just click over here on the top left in this window, it will show you all of your favorites within that. So we can have a couple of these checked. So now if we click the star, you can see all of these starred or favorited presets. So these are the built-in ones, as you can see. So we can also add other ones as well. So right now we have all of them checked. So we can also add a new category. If you click on this button, it will give you a new window showing you that you can add a new category. We're going to do that in the end once we've applied everything that we want. So I'm going to go back to default and I'm going to click on OK. So we're going to go into show clipping. Okay, so the show clipping is usually if there's any clipping on the video, it will show you like right there. We can see what it looks like. So we can disable that for now. And then we have the on-screen controls. We can enable or disable this right here. If you don't like it, you can just disable it by unticking this check mark. If we scroll down, we're going to have the convert to Rec 709. So we have color space. So the color space is just the overall video, like the color space it was originally filmed in. So right now it's at Rec 709, which is what we want it to be set at, if that's what you recorded it in. But if your camera films in different color spaces, you can change it to match it, or you can even change it to get a certain look. So you can change this to like red log film V1 if you wanted to. You can do S log 2 V1 if you wanted to as well, or you can do custom, and then you can add your own color space if you have one enabled. I'm just going to go back to Rec 709. So the next one we have is the white balance. So if we click on the effects icon, you can of course change the white balance. So I'm going to click on here, and then right now it will turn it green, slightly green, to match the overall look of that scene. So let's say you don't like it to be too much of that green color. Right now it's checked, and we can click on the white balance. If we click on this little white square, you can change the white balance color. So we can make it a little bit darker, a little bit whiter. Of course, this depends on the lighting conditions you filmed in. But if you go into white balance color and you click show, within the detailed parameters, you have red, green, and blue. So you can adjust each of these individual ones. So you can tweak this a little bit, maybe increase the reds, maybe decrease the reds. Maybe you want more greens, you can do that as well. Or you can reset this by clicking this little reset button to bring everything back to how it was. But like I said, right now I think the white balance is set pretty good, so I'm gonna have that unchecked for now. Now the next one we have is the levels. If you click on the effects icon, you can see we have the on-screen controls. So we can also quickly access that by clicking on the effects bar here in the effects icon for the levels. And then we have the controls there. So we have black. You can make the blacks darker. You can make them lighter. You can go into the gamma. You can make it darker as well. And you can bring this up a little bit to make it a little bit brighter, of course. So we have whites. We can increase the whites and so on. Now over here in the parameters, you can have a lot more settings, of course. So we have exposure. You can make the exposure, increase the exposure, decrease the exposure. I'm going to reset that. You also have the keyframe, so you can add custom keyframes. So you can add a keyframe here. So we've added a keyframe, and then we're going to go a little bit right here, and you can increase or decrease the exposure. If we increase it like that and I go back, you're going to see that it goes a little bit brighter, which looks kind of nice. So I'm going to reset that though. I think the lighting conditions pretty good for this video. We have the contrast, so we can make the contrast a little bit less. We can make the contrast a little more pronounced. And then we have the auto levels. So the auto levels allow you to pretty much automatically adjust the levels depending on the video you've applied or you've selected. So if I click on auto levels, it will change all of these values to match or what the effect thinks it should look like. And honestly, I think it looks a little bit better. However, I'm going to decrease the blacks a little bit. It's a little too harsh in my opinion. So around 6 is fine. Now we're going to go into the basic adjustments. So you can also click on the effects icon there, and it will bring you over here to the basic adjustments. Now we have the color temperature set to 1. You can also change this by clicking on this and maybe going to 0, and that will get rid of it. Or you can drag it to the left to get a cooler temperature, or you can adjust this right over here with the on-screen controls. So you can make it a little bit warmer. For this specific clip, I'm going to reset everything because I want to manually do this, or you can just click this to reset everything. So the color temperature, I'm going to go a little bit warmer on here to a little bit to around 0.07. The vibrance, we can increase or decrease this. I'm going to increase this a little bit to around 1.09. And then we have saturation. We can decrease the saturation, maybe make it black and white that way, or we can increase the saturation, the intensity of the colors. I'm going to reset the saturation. I don't like ever messing with the saturation, but you can if you want to. So we have sharpness. You can increase the sharpness of the quality of the video. So we can make it really sharp, as you can see. I personally don't like that, but you can change it if you want. So the next one we have is the off-screen flare. If I have the off-screen flare checked, this is one of my favorite effects within this plugin because it gives you that kind of film look vibe to this, and especially with this video it's perfect because we have a sun and we want to make it a little bit more dramatic. So we're going to go to the off-screen controls. If you click on the flare presets, this button right here, or you can click on the effects button right there, and it will open up the flare presets window. Within this window it will show you lots and lots of different presets. So if we select the arena reflector, this will change the color there, and I can change the position. So I will change the position after. So we have Aurora, so we have blue laser, we have cold glare, we have darkroom glow, which is my favorite one, and then we have dusk gleam. I'm going to do dusk gleam just because I think it looks a bit more natural. Of course, you can change the color, the hue for each of these presets. So I'm going to click on OK, and then I can change the location. So if I click on this, I can change the center of this. So I maybe want this to come from the top left because that's where the source of light is coming from. So now if I go into the intensity right underneath the flare presets, you can see which flare preset we have applied, and you can also get rid of it by clicking this little X button. But we can increase or decrease the intensity. So maybe we can make it really strong or really subtle. I'm going to make it a little bit more intense, and then I can change the hue, so you can change the colors of this a little bit to maybe match your scene. So I think that is fine there. You can increase or decrease the saturation. I'm going to increase it a little bit to make it a little bit more intense as well. And I can increase or decrease the size of this. So we can make it small, a little bit subtle, or we can make it really dramatic and increase the scale of this. And we can also change the flare position to automatic or manual. If you do manual, this will allow you to be a little bit more precise with your positioning. So I can move it up like that out of the screen, or maybe on inside of the screen. I'm going to move it out just because I think it looks a little bit more nice. And let's say I want to maybe go into, once you have manual, you can now change the X position and the Y position. So we can go into the X position, we can move this to the right by moving the slider to the right, or move the slider to the left to move the flare to the left. I'm going to move it around. Let me go back here to where it was. I'm going to move it around here like that. And I'm going to move the Y position upwards a little bit just because I personally like the flares to be out of the screen. And then now I can go into streak settings. If I click show, this will give us a more detailed settings for this specific parameter. So we're going to go around here. I think that looks pretty nice. Kind of gives it that sunset vibe. So we can also increase the brightness. So we can slide the slider to the right to make it a lot more brighter or a little bit less bright. I'm going to move it to the left a little bit. We can increase the gamma. I'm going to move it a little bit to the right. Why not? And we can change the X scale. Okay, so that will change it the X-axis, or we can do the scale Y. So we can increase the scale a little bit more with the Y. So we can increase it by dragging the slider to the right or to the left. I'm going to increase it a little bit. I'm going to leave everything how it is. Now I'm going to go into the flicker settings. So the flare does flicker a little bit because it kind of gives it more of that natural look, because of course, you know, with flares, they naturally kind of flicker because there's clouds going in between on a sunny day most of the time. So then now you can change the intensity. So if you increase the intensity and we go back and I push play, you can see it's flickering a little bit more, and it looks really nice in my opinion. We have the speed. We can increase the speed of this on how fast we want it to flicker. I like it how it was before, and you can also change the value for the noisiness. So I'm going to decrease the intensity a little bit, and I'm going to go back and push play. And you can see it's flickering. It's a little bit hard to notice, especially with YouTube's compression, but it is there. And that's going to be the flare, the off-screen flare. The next one we have is the LUT, and the LUT will, of course, give us the color grading look. So we can go into the LUT and just quickly check this. Click on this button right there, and this will open up the LUT preset with lots of presets here. So we can go with this one, which is, I think it's called Agate. We have Bluebell and we have Blueprint. I'm going to go with Heatwave, and I'm going to click on OK. And in the intensity here, you also have it on the on-screen controls. You can decrease the intensity or you can increase the intensity. I'm going to, you can see what it looks like. I'm going to maybe move it around halfway. I think that looks pretty good. So now if I go back and I push play, you're going to see what it looks like. And that's pretty good. So now we're going to go into the aberration. And if I click on the button there and we enable this, and we increase the intensity to around 2, so you can see what it looks like. Press enter. You're going to see that we have like this RGB split around the edges, and it looks really, really cool. So we can, of course, change the range within the on-screen controls. So this will change our softness on how soft the edges we want it to look like. And then the outer ring will change the range of how much of the effect we want to include. So I want it to maybe include it like that. I want it to be a little bit soft around the edges like that. So now if I go back and I push play, you're going to see what it looks like there, which looks kind of nice. Maybe we can bring it in a little bit more. But for right now, for this specific video, I'm going to have it unchecked. And we're going to go down to distortion. So if we click on the effects icon, this will bring up the distortion. We got to enable this and then click on the effects icon right over here. and now you're going to see the strength. So this will allow us to kind of distort the image, in this case the video. So if somehow your video turned out to be a little bit like this, you can just move the slider depending on, usually if your video was filmed like this, it will start like this, and then you can drag it to the right to fix that. But right now, since we don't have that distortion going on, we can give it a distortion to kind of go for that fisheye lens look if we want, and it looks kind of neat. However, for this video, I'm not going to add it. The next one we have is the lens blur, and the lens blur is kind of neat because if you click in the browser there, just click on the effects icon there, this will allow us to pretty much give us a lens blur, like a fake lens blur, which is kind of cool because we can adjust the values and of course give it a really soft blur. So if we go into the intensity, we can drag this to the right to make it really intense, or drag it to the left if we don't want an intensity. I want it around there, and we can change the range. And then we have the softness, so we can make it more soft or less soft. And then down in the focus mask settings, if you click show, you can change the center X, which is the center piece here, and then we can rotate the focus mask. So maybe we want it to only affect her. Well, we can change the aspect ratio, and you can also change it right there on the on-screen controls. Just drag the slider to the right to make it more of a circle, and you can keep dragging to the right to make it more of an oval. We want it to fit the girl within the shape, so we can drag the slider outwards a little bit. And then, so once we've changed our softness and our range, maybe around there, and we want her to be mostly focused, we can do that like that. And then right in the invert focus, you can also invert the focus as well. So you can drag it to the right. So now you can blur everything except the background. So anything that's in here is going to be blurred. However, I'm going to disable that. So everything outside of this is going to be blurred, and everything inside of the range is going to be not blurred. So, which is kind of neat. You can also change the mode of this. So you can do blurry, or you can go with a bokeh. I like bokeh. I think it looks more natural. If you're trying to go for that bokeh, if you want it blurry, by all means go for blurry. I'm going to go with bokeh though. And then we also have grain, which is kind of neat. If you click on grain and you enable it, and we click on the effects icon, we have the intensity. So we can increase the grain, and it's a little bit hard to see if you're watching this on YouTube due to the YouTube's compression settings. However, if you're actually using this in person, you can visually see the grain. And if I increase the size, you can see it taking place. And you can change the color noise of this. Also, if you go into the settings here, you can change the speed of which the grain is going to appear. So if I push play, you can see how fast the grain is going. Maybe you don't like it that fast, just move it to the left and then push play, and it gives you a different look. You can also change the granularity by clicking and dragging to the right or to the left, and so on. You also have Luma Influence. Right now it's on 1, and this allows you to control pretty much the brightness of the grain. So if you drag it to the left, it's going to be a darker grain, so you can see it a little bit more. And if you drag the Luma Influence back to 1, it'll still be there, but it'll be very subtle and a lot more natural looking. I'm going to disable that for this because I don't want the grain. The next one we have is Vignette, and Vignette will allow us to add, the edges or the corners will be darkened. So if I enable this, you can see what it looks like. So before and after, and you can change the intensity there alongside the range. So you can change this around, like maybe you want it here, and then you can change the softness of this. So we can do like that. It's going to be more harsh, or you can drag it inwards and it'll be a little bit more of a softer vignette. And we can decrease the intensity, of course. So now this is a before and after. I'm also going to disable that for now, just for this specific look that I'm going for. Now we have letterbox, which is really neat. If we enable this, it will show us the letterbox, and we can click on this, and you have really easy controls. So you can click on this little circle and drag downwards to go to specific presets. So right now we have the mode set to horizontal, or you can do vertical. Right now I'm going to show you the horizontal. So we have 2.75 by 1, which is the Ultra Panavision. You can also click on the preset button and go to 2.76 by 1 MGM camera 65. Can't really tell the difference, but it does change it. You have extreme scope, then you have polyvision, And you also have, your default HD, you have 1.85, one VistaVision, you have Panoscope and Red. I like this one a lot. I'm going to keep this one, but you can change each one of these. And your standard one will be 2.391 theatrical and Blu-ray. I'm going to go with this one. And you can also change the aspect, so you can maybe change it to how you want it to look like. I'm going to reset that though. Then you have the position offset. The offset allows you to control the video. So maybe you'll want, like if her face was cut off like that, all you got to do is just move the slider back to the position that you want the video to look like, so you can frame it properly. And then if we go and change now the mode to vertical, so right now we're going to go into the preset. We're going to do 4:3 standard default SD. So this is like your standard 4:3 letterbox. And then we have square, which looks like that. And then we have 9:16 vertical HD, and as well as custom. So if you do custom, you can change this to how you want this to look. So I'm going to go back to 4:3, and you can change the position offset as well, which is kind of neat in my opinion. For now, I'm going to go back to the one that I liked, which was 2:1. With all of these settings and the effects applied, I can now go back to the top and go to save preset, so we can save all of our work so we don't have to reapply it. So we can give the preset a name. I'm going to name this, Italy. I'm going to choose a category. I'm going to go into short films. I've already curated a category, but if you want to add a new category, just click on this button. And this is kind of like your folder that you're going to put it in. So within this category, I'm going to name this short films 2. I'm going to click add. So now I can select which pretty much folder or category I want it to save it to. Now I click save. So now if I click on the down arrow and I go back to short films 2, you're going to see my preset that I've applied already saved here. So if you were to work on another project, so all you got to do is load the plugin and then drag the effect directly onto your clip. And then you're going to go in here and then select it and click OK. And now you're just one button away, of course, from adding all of your effects, which is the best part of this plugin in my opinion. So once we have all of the effects applied, this is what the video would look like. So this is a before video with all of the effects not applied, and this is with the mFilmLook. You can see how drastic you can make your video look like, and I just love this plugin. So link is going to be in the description. Check it out, subscribe so you guys don't miss out on a video like this one, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.